9 of the biggest names in golf just walked away from the most important weekend of the year. The loud daily headlines call it a huge boycott. The quiet reality is much more dangerous for the entire tour. Rory McIlroy is already out, but he is definitely not the only one. 8 other superstars looked at the schedule and said no. The tour built this entire new model around guaranteeing star power. They promised us that these special elevated events would be the ultimate showcase for professional golf. Huge payouts and guaranteed matchups between the best competitors on the planet were supposed to save the sport. But when the entry lists were finalized this week, the grand plan completely failed. Think about the sheer scale of this absence. You are talking about the exact competitors who drive the global viewership for professional golf. These are the faces on the magazine covers. These are the names that sell out pro-ams and drive merchandise sales. When they pull out of a marquee event, the entire economic engine of that weekend sputters. The tour spent millions marketing this specific weekend as the ultimate destination for golf fans. They promised a showcase of the absolute elite. Now, they have to explain to the paying customers why the main attractions decided to stay home. The disconnect between the marketing promise and the reality on the ground has never been wider. This is not just a bad week for ticket sales. This is a direct rejection of the core strategy. The executives thought they had finally figured out how to keep the stars happy and the fans watching. The quiet reality is much more dangerous for the entire organization. When the best competitors in the world refuse to show up, the word signature loses all its meaning. The fans are going to notice, and the sponsors are going to ask very uncomfortable questions. I believe skipping this event is a smart move to protect their careers, but do you agree with their choice? Let me know your exact thoughts below. If you want more honest golf news, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. To understand the exact rule that broke the competitors, we have to look at the brutal math hidden inside this specific weekend and see exactly who else is walking away. The executives thought they created the perfect product. They designed a special weekend to showcase the absolute best golf on the planet. They attached huge money and huge points to this single event. But when the final entry list was locked, the grand plan completely fell apart. The withdrawal list reads like a hall of fame. Major champions, rising superstars, and global icons all looked at the invitation and said, no. Consider the perspective of the sponsors who paid top dollar for this weekend. They did not write massive checks just to see a random collection of rookies and fringe players battling it out on Thursday. They paid for the guarantee of seeing the best competitors in the world tee it up against each other. When the withdrawal list drops, those corporate partners immediately start asking questions about their return on investment. They want to know if their brand is associated with a premium product or a watered-down exhibition. The executives are now forced to have very difficult conversations with the people who fund the sport. The money is still there, but the trust is rapidly evaporating. The trap is hidden in the official rulebook for this specific weekend. Tournament organizers made a huge change to how this event is played. They changed the fundamental rules of competition. In a normal week, competitors must fight to survive. They must play well on Thursday and Friday just to keep their weekend alive. But for this special weekend, the organizers threw out that traditional rule. They created a system where every single competitor in the field is guaranteed to play all 4 days. There is no elimination. There is no pressure to survive the first 2 days. Playing 4 days of professional golf is an immense physical challenge. A competitor walks roughly 8 miles a day while carrying their bag or closely following their caddy. They hit hundreds of practice balls before the round even starts. They spend hours on the practice green and in the gym. Doing this for 4 consecutive days drains the legs and the lower back. When you add in the unpredictable weather conditions, the deep rough, and the fast greens, the physical toll multiplies. In a normal event, the cut provides a mandatory rest day on Monday. It allows the body to recover before traveling to the next location. Removing that rest day means the competitors go straight from a grueling 4-day sprint into travel and more practice. It is a recipe for injury and severe fatigue. Removing the traditional survival test was supposed to be a gift to the competitors, yet it completely destroyed the competitive balance of the sport. Without a cut, the true test of professional golf simply vanishes. A 72-hour test of endurance and skill turns into a short 36-hour sprint. The competitors know exactly what this means for their bodies. They are not just playing a relaxed exhibition. They are hitting every shot with maximum effort because the FedEx Cup points are too valuable to waste. Playing a high-stakes, no-cut event requires a huge physical output. The tour demanded their absolute best talent show up and play on the first tee. The competitors quickly realized the physical cost was simply too high to ignore anymore. The brutal physical demand is only half the problem, because the calendar itself is secretly working against them. PGA Tour headquarters thought they solved the scheduling puzzle. Competitors are looking at the exact dates on the calendar. Every single one of them is staring at the weeks leading up to the biggest major championships of the year. Tournament organizers clustered these high-stress, no-cut events right before the most important tournaments in golf. Competitors are doing the math in their heads. Hitting a grueling 4-day sprint right before a major is a huge disadvantage. Major championships require a completely different type of preparation. The courses are set up to be brutally difficult. The greens are firmer, the rough is thicker, and the pin positions are much more punishing. Competitors need time to walk the course, study the breaks on the greens, and figure out the exact yardages. They need practice rounds to build confidence and find their rhythm. When you schedule a high-stress, no-cut event just 7 days before a major, you steal that crucial preparation time. The competitors are forced to rush their practice rounds or skip them entirely. They arrive at the major championship feeling rushed and underprepared. The math simply does not work in their favor if they want to win a green jacket or lift the claret jug. Such calendar math reveals a shocking reality about the treatment of its biggest stars, and the competitors are finally pushing back. The executives thought the competitors were just being difficult. They believed the huge payouts would easily overcome any player fatigue. They thought the money was enough to buy their time and their energy. But the competitors looked at the specific rules of this weekend and realized it was a trap. The fans are going to notice the missing names. The sponsors are going to ask very uncomfortable questions. The executives thought they had finally figured out how to keep the stars happy. What the executives failed to realize is that the competitors are not just looking at their bank accounts, they are looking at their long-term careers. Every single one of these competitors is staring at the weeks leading up to the biggest championships. They know that peak performance requires careful management of their physical energy. They cannot afford to drain their bodies on a guaranteed 4-day sprint just weeks before a major. The mental fatigue is just as bad as the physical toll. Playing with maximum intensity for 4 days without the natural break of a cut week destroys their focus. A grueling sprint right before a major is a huge disadvantage, and the competitors refuse to sacrifice their best chances. This is not just a simple scheduling dispute. This is a direct rejection of the entire system. The executives demanded their absolute best talent show up and play on the first tee. The competitors quickly realized the physical cost was simply too high to ignore anymore. They are sending a huge warning to the executives. The current model is broken. The competitors are voting with their entry forms. They are showing the world that the attempt to force must-see TV actually results in the stars resting. Huge payouts and huge points should have guaranteed a full field of legends, yet the exact rulebook created a nightmare scenario. Imagine sitting in the broadcast truck on Thursday morning. The producers look at the tee times and realize the main attractions are missing. The television ratings will take a huge hit. The fans who bought expensive tickets to see their favorite champions are going to feel cheated. The sponsors who paid millions to have their logos next to the best players in the world are going to demand answers. The entire financial ecosystem of this special weekend is crumbling before the first ball is even hit. Think about the fans who spend hundreds of dollars on tickets, travel, and hotels just to watch their favorite golfers. They stand in the hot sun for hours, waiting for a glimpse of a specific champion. When that champion is not there, the mood in the crowd changes completely. The energy drops. The volunteers have to answer angry questions from people who feel tricked by the marketing. The local businesses near the golf course also lose money because the expected crowds do not show up to buy food and souvenirs. The entire local economy relies on these stars, drawing a massive crowd. This financial collapse forces the executives to look at the exact numbers and realize their grand experiment is failing. The grand experiment was supposed to rival the new competing golf league. The executives wanted to create a product so good that no competitor would ever look elsewhere. They thought that by guaranteeing the stars would play against each other, they would secure the future of the sport. But this boycott proves the exact opposite. The competitors are showing that they care more about their physical health and their major championship prep than they care about these elevated purses. Realizing this creates a massive panic behind closed doors, because the executives know they cannot afford another public failure. The panic is spreading quickly through the corporate offices. They are trying to figure out how to fix a broken system without losing face. They cannot simply cancel the events because the contracts are already signed. They cannot force the competitors to play because the competitors hold all the power. The only option is to change the rules for the future. But before they can change the rules, they have to admit that the current rules are a complete disaster. Admitting this failure is exactly what the competitors wanted all along, and it leads directly to the exact event that started this entire mess. We need to name the exact event and the exact competitors to understand the full scale of this disaster. The exact rule that broke the competitors is hidden inside the brutal math of the Cadillac Championship at Trump National Doral. Attached to this week is a huge $20 million purse. The tour also awarded 700 FedEx Cup points to the winner. On paper, it looks like the ultimate prize. A quick look at the withdrawal list shows Rory McIlroy is joined by Ludwig Aberg, Wyndham Clark, Tony Finau, Matt Fitzpatrick, Brooks Koepka, Robert McIntyre, Marco Penji, and Xander Schauffele. Look closely at that specific list of names. You have the major champions who know exactly what it takes to win. You have the rising young stars who are building their careers. You have the consistent veterans who never miss a weekend. This is not a group of players who are just looking for a free week off. These are highly competitive individuals who hate missing tournaments. The fact that all 9 of them made the exact same decision to withdraw shows a unified consensus. They have all looked at the physical demands, the schedule, and the format, and they have all reached the exact same conclusion. It is a devastating indictment of the current system. A shocking walkout hides a deeper structural trap inside the new format, and fixing it will change golf forever. 9 of the absolute best competitors on earth are missing from the first tee at Doral. The trap lies in the official rulebook for these signature events. Tournament organizers decided to use a limited field format. The rulebook also completely removed the traditional 36-hole cut. In a normal PGA Tour event, competitors must survive Friday to play the weekend. They have to fight for their livelihood. This weekend at Doral, every single competitor in the field is guaranteed to play all 4 days. There is no pressure to make the cut. There is no elimination. Without a cut, the true test of professional golf simply vanishes, and the new head of the PGA Tour finally sees the damage. Brian Rolapp, the new head of the PGA Tour, is looking at this exact disaster. He is not panicking. He is using this huge walkout as data. The executives know that limited fields and no-cut formats have damaged competitive integrity. The fans want to see the best competitors in the world, but they also want to see them fight. The current model removes the fight. It turns a battle into a showcase. Rolapp understands that a showcase without stakes is just an exhibition. The competitors understand it too. That is why they stayed home. Rolapp brings a completely different perspective to the leadership role. He spent years in the television and media business before taking over the tour. He understands exactly what the fans want to watch on a Sunday afternoon. He knows that a guaranteed paycheck and a no-cut format do not create compelling television. He knows that the drama of the cut line is one of the most exciting moments in golf. Watching the leaderboard shrink, seeing the competitors sweat as the clock ticks down, and watching the bubble players fight for their survival is pure sports drama. Rolapp realizes that the previous leadership tried to sanitize the sport. They tried to make it too perfect for the stars. In doing so, they removed the very tension that makes golf exciting to watch. Rolapp has publicly admitted that the current signature event model is broken, and he already has a master plan to fix it. They are spearheading a huge shift to a 2-tier system by the year 2028, and it starts with one simple rule change. This new plan is called the Championship Series. The mechanics of the new plan are simple but revolutionary. They are expanding the fields back to roughly 120 competitors and bringing back the 36-hole cut. This is the exact fix the competitors have been asking for. Bringing back the cut restores the meritocracy of the sport. It means that every competitor in the field must actually earn their weekend. They cannot just show up, collect their paycheck, and play 4 days of relaxed golf. The details of this new championship series are still being finalized, but the core principles are already set in stone. The tour is planning to integrate a secondary tier of events, often referred to as the Challenger Series. This lower tier will feature slightly smaller purses, but will offer a direct pathway to the top level. The top finishers in the Challenger events will earn promotion to the Championship Series for the following week. This creates a constant flow of fresh talent and hungry competitors moving up the ranks. It mirrors the promotion and relegation systems seen in global soccer. It ensures that the top level never becomes a closed country club. It keeps the pressure on the established stars because they know the newcomers are always right behind them, ready to take their spot if they stop performing. Now the stars can no longer just play a short exhibition. They must fight for their legacy every single Friday. Expanding the field to 120 competitors also solves a huge problem for the rest of the tour. It gives the bubble competitors a lifeline. These are the competitors fighting for their cards, fighting for their livelihoods, fighting to keep their dreams alive. When the fields are limited to 70 competitors, the bubble competitors have no chance to prove themselves against the stars. The new format opens the door. It allows the hungry competitors to step onto the big stage. It creates real drama on Friday afternoon when the cut line is being drawn. Think about the exact financial impact on those bubble competitors. Making the cut at a regular PGA Tour event guarantees a paycheck that covers their travel, their caddy, and their living expenses for the next month. Missing the cut means they lose money that week. It means they have to rely on their savings or their sponsors to keep going. When the fields are limited to 70 players, dozens of capable professionals are locked out of that earning opportunity. They are stuck playing on the secondary tour, wondering if they will ever get a real chance to prove themselves. The new format changes the entire economic landscape for the lower half of the professional golf world. It gives them a fair shot to compete, to earn, and to keep their dreams alive. Think about the exact ripple effect this has on the people who work behind the scenes. A professional golfer does not travel alone. They bring a caddy, a coach, a physiotherapist, and sometimes a manager. All of these people rely on the player making the cut to get paid for the week. When a player misses the cut, the caddy often gets a reduced weekly rate, or sometimes nothing at all. The coach and the physio also lose their weekly bonus. By guaranteeing 4 days of play, the tour thought it was protecting the players, but it was also artificially propping up the entire support staff without them having to earn it. Now, with the cut returning, the pressure is back on everyone in the players' camp. The caddy has to read every single putt perfectly. The coach has to ensure the swing holds up under maximum pressure. The physio has to keep the body loose and pain-free for 72 holes. This is how the sport is supposed to work. Every single person in the player's corner must contribute to surviving the weekend. When the cut line is drawn on Friday afternoon, it is not just the player's name on the line. It is the livelihood of their entire team. The tension is real, and it is earned. The fans standing on the 18th green on Friday afternoon know this. They hold their breath as the final groups putt out. They watch the leaderboard update in real time. They know that one missed putt means a player is going home early, and their team is going home unpaid. This is the raw, unfiltered drama that makes professional golf so compelling. It is not a scripted television show. It is a brutal, beautiful test of human endurance. The return of the cut guarantees that this exact drama will happen every single weekend, right where it belongs. Furthermore, the television broadcast will fundamentally change for the better. Producers will no longer have to artificially manufacture drama during the weekend rounds. They will not have to rely on gimmicks or forced storylines to keep the audience engaged. The natural narrative of the cut line provides all the suspense they could ever need. The cameras will naturally focus on the bubble players fighting for their lives. The commentators will have real stakes to discuss. The viewers at home will feel the genuine anxiety of a 3-foot putt for par that saves a weekend. This authentic tension is what built the PGA Tour into a global powerhouse. It is what separates professional golf from a casual weekend round with friends. The executives finally understand that you cannot buy this kind of authentic drama with a $20 million purse. You have to earn it through the traditional rules of the game. The players knew this all along. That is why they stayed home. They refused to be part of a watered-down product. They demanded the return of the real test. And now, thanks to their unified stance, the tour is finally listening. The 9 stars who skipped this weekend did not break the tour. They actually saved it from a fatal mistake. The fans will get the real test of professional golf back. They will see the stars sweat. They will see the bubble competitors make incredible putts to survive by a single stroke. The sponsors will get a product that actually means something. The tension will return to the weekend. The boycott was just the beginning of a much bigger correction. The competitors forced the executives to look in the mirror. They forced them to admit that the new model was flawed. Returning to true meritocracy is exactly what the sport needs to survive the next decade of professional golf. The return of the cut means more drama and more competitors fighting on Friday afternoon. It means the sport goes back to its roots. It goes back to being a true test of skill, endurance, and mental toughness. The competitors voted with their entry forms, and the executives finally listened. The Cadillac Championship at Trump National Doral might have lost 9 of its biggest stars this year, but because of their absence, the future of the PGA Tour is actually in a much better place. The real test of golf is coming back. The people buying the tickets will notice the difference immediately. They will see the stars playing with real urgency on Thursday and Friday. They will see the unknown players stepping up and making birdies to survive. The atmosphere on the course will change from a relaxed exhibition back to a high-stakes battle. The sponsors will see their brands associated with genuine sporting drama. The television networks will get the unpredictable finishes they desperately need. The entire ecosystem of professional golf will be healthier because the fundamental rules of competition have been restored. The boycott was not the end of the signature events. It was the exact catalyst required to fix a broken system. I believe this return to true meritocracy is exactly what golf needs, but do you prefer guaranteed star power or a real cut? Drop your thoughts below. If you want more deep golf analysis, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now.